Yes.
We were talking about yesterday about this, this David Hogue expose thing. And the video actually didn't have David Hogue saying anything. At least
Do we get clarification? Because it was sort of a teaser, but also
that's what I have
would-
here. I
Okay.
have the actual clip of him talking a little bit more. Here he's talking about he knows Nancy Pelosi is corrupt.
I would say Pelosi's actually very good at her job. I don't agree with the stock trading stuff. I mean, she gets better returns than almost every hedge fund in this city every year. Some of these members of Congress make trades that are like way too well timed to not have like insider knowledge. They happen to be some of the best financial analysts in human history.
Have you spoken?
Now, to be fair, David Hogue is not saying anything different than what everybody else has been saying. Like we know, we know that she has like a near 1,000% batting average with stocks. And we know that that's not a coincidence.
Spoken against that?
I've talked to that past, but it's also like I know that if I pick that fight, it's going to be harder for us to get gun control passed. So I pick my battle.
Oh, okay. So he knows she's corrupt, but he won't call it out because he has his own agenda. Like he wants to get his gun control, whatever that means, passed.
Like the hardest part about my job is I just want to burn everything down because it's all so corrupt. But you got to pick your battles and slowly build your momentum.
I mean, he's not wrong about that.
So
It's-
a date, like an undercover date.
yes, he was talking to somebody.
there's someone else there too. That's who we heard from yesterday.
Yeah,
They're, like,
he's
off
another
camera.
DC insider.
Joining
Yeah.
us now, DNC Vice Chair David Hogg.
We're not going to go after Pelosi. One, we wouldn't beat her, even if we wanted to. That's part of it. But two,
He's not wrong about that.
it's an unnecessary fight to take when there's other members that are far weaker. And I would say Pelosi's actually very good at her job. I don't agree with the stock trading stuff.
You don't?
No. Some of these members of Congress make trades that are like way too well timed to not have like insider knowledge about.
So,
And it's a huge problem.
do you think that's how Pelosi is worth
Yes.
hundreds of millions of dollars?
Yes. I mean, she gets better returns than almost every hedge fund in this city every year.
And you don't think that has to change?
No, it does.
How would you change that?
I mean, based? I mean, David Hogue would
Yeah.
never say this out loud willingly.
You just ban members of Congress from owning stock.
So
Have
you're,
to put their assets in a blind trust.
you're gonna prop up candidates who oppose that? Is that your goal to prop
Yeah,
up
I
candidates?
mean, in part, yeah.
Yeah, because that's a long haul. There's 435 members,
Yeah.
and most likely 430 of them are doing the same thing, which is
Oh.
why they don't want to. I don't know, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, Dan Crenshaw's pretty rich, isn't he? There's a lot of Republicans that Marjorie Taylor Greene famously made some pretty interesting stock trades. This is a thing.
I think it's a pretty good guess.
That's the other guy, the black guy,
It-
Detarian Jones.
It's interesting to me that this is sort of a generational divide as opposed to a political ideological divide. Like
Yeah.
young people are like no stock trades, blind trust. They're more open to these things regardless of the political affiliation. It seems less like Republican v Democrat to me.
Yeah, which is why it should pass. It's just that nobody wants to do it.
Well,
it
the
would
people
have
who
to-
would pass it are the ones who would be restricting themselves. So
Yeah, I know, but then
not
you
the same kind of motivation, you know?
Yeah, but you implicate yourself by voting against it too.
If you vote
But-
against it, it doesn't go into effect. So
Right, so it doesn't matter. Yeah.
I think it's a pretty good guess.
Allegedly,
Yeah. Just conveniently. They happen to be some of the best financial analysts in human history.
Have you spoken against that?
I've talked to that past, but it's also like I know that if I pick that fight, it's going to be harder for us to get gun control passed. So I have to pick my battle. Like the hardest part about my job is I just want to burn everything down because it's all so corrupt. But you got to pick your battles and slowly build your momentum.
I mean, not much there. Again, another Project Veritas oversell. Everybody knows that the stock trading stuff is corrupt. That's not a bombshell. I guess the bombshell is that David Hogue knows, but like, why wouldn't he? I mean, this is his constituents. Like, I think that AOC's constituents would agree with this, right? Like, all the kind of the squad people would probably agree with this. I don't think that it's politically damaging for him to have this position, but it is interesting that he's saying, well, if I come out against Nancy Pelosi, I can't pay. So he's basically saying, like, she has all the power in the Democratic Party.
Which I think some people might have thought was changing, because you always hear these, like, the young people in the Democratic Party are making these surges or they're challenging whatever. Like, Nancy Pelosi has retired from her leadership position, and despite, being well past retirement age, has plans to run once again for re-election. Like, she bowed out of her formal position of power, but ultimately seems to still be in control of what's going on. I think that's sort of a fascinating tell, because we have always said, or we've noticed for a while, that there is a divide between young up and coming Democrats and the older generation. What he's essentially saying is the older generation is still in charge, and we have to continue to comply with their wants and needs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have to play ball. But to those in the know, like people that watch this show or the people that are on this show, like, this isn't exactly news. Like, everybody knows that Pelosi calls the shots. I would not be surprised if she was the one in charge of the auto pen. Or, at least the list of people that were getting pardons. This is not surprising news. We know that her breasts are actually full of vodka and not, human tissue. We know that this is not a bombshell. But, like, I guess seeing the Democrats basically saying, like, yeah, we can't do anything without bending the knee to old vodka knockers. I guess it's something. Maybe. Anything come of this? Probably not. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I can't help but wonder if he knew he was even being recorded, because I didn't see anything crazy that was said there.
Right. That's true. He could have given him, like, I'm going to give him a little piece, but not
Yeah.
In the recording from yesterday, I thought it looked like he was kind of maybe he didn't know if he was recorded, but it doesn't seem like he trusted whoever he was talking to.
He was covering his mouth a lot too, which might be
but they are eating. Like,
yeah, that's true. He did seem like the other guy seemed more free with information. So yeah, okay. So now we know for a fact that Nancy Pelosi runs the Democratic Party. Now what? Will anybody else actually come out and speak against her? Probably not. Did this recording get to Nancy Pelosi weeks ago when they probably asked her for comment? And was that why he got ousted?
Maybe. I wonder if,
because remember how Pam Bondi,
they know there's a hierarchy of issues, and David Hogg, who is effectively a single issue guy. Like, yes, he's with the DNC leadership right now, but he made his bones as an anti-gun or gun control advocate, whatever you want to call it. He knows that that's ultimately what the public demands from him. I mean, he's not elected, but that's what the people who support him, who fundraise on his behalf, who donate to his causes, need him to stay focused on. So if he may care about all kinds of things outside of this, but ultimately he's only allowed to prioritize gun regulation. And Nancy Pelosi and the DNC and other people like that know that about him. He's limited right now in what he's allowed to have influence on.
Yeah, that's probably true. And I'm sure that's like true in the Conservative Party too. But there's not,
for sure.
Like, this is just how government works. Was it a bombshell? Not really. It just shows that David Hogue actually knows how DC works.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps he knew more than Elon Musk.
I feel like Elon Musk was sort of optimistic in a way, which I think is also what I thought about a lot of both Trump campaigns. There was always a lot more optimism than with Democratic campaigns, partially because they're always attacking everyone and they're very hostile and doom and gloom. But there is this fundamental belief behind MAGA movement, conservatives, people who identify more on the right end of the spectrum that, like, yes, things are really bad, but if we just get the right people in there, things can change. That's why, sorry, this is kind of looping back to an older topic from today, but that's why I think the Dan Bongino and Kash Patel stuff hurts people so much, because it's like there was an optimism and it gets sort of damaged by people having an about face when they get to power. In some ways, I mean, you already said this, but David Hogue seems more realistic here. He's like, yeah, I can't do what I want. I have to play ball with everybody else. And you can't just barnstorm and come in like Elon Musk and be like, look how logical this is. Make these cuts, save this money, because there's much more at play.